Good evening and welcome, race fans. I am David Westergreen, joined by Emily Harlan. Josh Sobel is the producer, and Dom Santino will be joining us shortly. We are preparing to race at Homestead for the fourth ERSCA race of the season. This is the Batflip Podcast 150. Emily, we're running at Homestead. This is a track that'll eat up tires, provide some long green flag runs, and has recently been patched by iRacing. What do you think is kind of going to be one of the keys to the race?
Well, I think that there's quite a few things that we can kind of focus on. I know we have our keys of the race here that Josh put together for us, and the first one is patience when passing, and we saw that did not happen last race, so we'll see how well these guys can do at that.
I know, and I think these guys are going to be really on it when it comes to the green flag racing today. I think last week at Atlanta was a pretty good indicator that we can go green for 40, 50 laps at these mile-and-a-half racetracks. But since we raced last, iRacing has put out an update that provided grip strips at the top of some of the tracks, and one of those tracks was Homestead. I think we're going to be seeing guys run that top line, that Larson line against the wall, and I think that might end up causing some extra crashes and some extra incidents where guys get sucked up into the wall. But it'll also provide for some really good side by side racing.
Right, absolutely. And what about the other key to our race that we have up here with the long run strategy?
Yeah, so I think these guys are going to run green flag for a really long time. Russian Damian Leininger right here, who is the co-host of that Batflip podcast that is our race sponsor for today. And Damian's going to be one of those guys that's going to have to be careful when he's making his way through the field. A little lower on practice. About half of our guys just got finished running a short track on a lead on Monday nights, and here's Damian there on the live cam. About half of those guys that run elite racing as well just got out of short track. So it's going to be very difficult to make that transition. These guys are going to maybe probably have to pick their way through the field similarly to how they did last week at Atlanta. And I think that, see there, Damien gets sucked into the wall. I think that's the kind of thing that you're going to have to watch out for on these long runs. On top of that, the tires are going to go away. So these guys are going to have to be really careful with managing their tires. And it's one of the things that I always look out for when I'm racing here at these mile-and-a-half tracks is I try to take it easy on that first couple of laps when everybody's pushing really hard, and then I pick my way through the field on the older tires.
One of the things that I feel like we've seen in at least the last or two of the last four races that we've had is that there's crazy endings. How do these guys kind of keep that from happening if you're running in the lead with a few laps left?
Mm. It's going to be really treacherous, I think, when we get 3 and 4 wide. Homestead is kind of known for having these really fan out restarts and the ability to run the bottom and the top. I think that we'll get that kind of excitement with the late race restart, and the way to fend it off is to be up front. You just got to have that track position with fresh tires. Whoever can have that for the long run, those are going to be the ones that go green, or rather get that big checker flag at the end of the night.
I am very excited to see how it all goes here. Who do you have kind of coming out on top tonight?
I've got a guy who's definitely on a momentum streak, and I know he's good at mile-and-a-half tracks as well. Matthew Weeks, driving the 11 Pro Edge car. His teammate Tate Lytle won last week. His teammate Ethan Burrell ran second last week. I believe Matthew finished in the top 10. He just won at North Wilkesboro with Elite Racing, and he just seems to be having a really strong season. He's having a really fun time. The momentum is on his side. So I'm picking Matthew Weeks just based on that. But I think Scott Crump's on the pole. That could be interesting. He has been bad up until finishing third last week when he got to interview with us. So maybe Scott Crump has something to say about Matthew Weeks. Who you got, Emily?
I like your answer with Scott Crump. I think using that momentum, having a little taste of getting up at top there, I think will do him well, hopefully, this race. But I, on Twitter, told Ryan Lutz that maybe I'd pick him today, and then Damien called me out for saying that. So I said maybe I'd pick him. So I'm going, I feel like I have to go Ryan and or Damien 1 and 2 right there, with maybe Scott coming in third. We'll see how that goes.
I think you're definitely right there with those guys. Ryan Lutz is always fast, though Ryan will tell you he's not necessarily great at these mile-and-a-half tracks, and was calling himself terrible last week as he picked his way through the field to go from about 35th to 10th or 11th at the end of the day. So, you know, I think those guys always undersell their ability. Ryan Lutz is one of the fastest cars here, and he's going to be as good as it goes. The other thing is if Josh can pull up the points for us, we can kind of get where we're at for the championship standings. Current points leader is Dalton Tucker, driver of the number 24 Ford. He has been really consistent so far this season, and he took the lead from Gerald Campbell after Gerald had a rough run at Atlanta last week. We look through the rest. You know, Ryan Lutz just sideways coming to the line in a couple of those races. Hasn't won a race yet. I expect Nick Massey, last year's champion, to move up. There's Matthew Weeks, my pick for the race. And, you know, league owner Johnny Thomas suffered a little bit last week. Nicky Delicato is going to be starting in the top 5. As we scroll through the rest of the point standings, I think some of these guys down here at the bottom of the field, maybe like Josh Adams and Jeff Green, are going to start picking their way back towards the field. And obviously Damian Leininger, who had internet issues throughout that first little bit of the season, aside from Daytona. That's corrected now. I think Damian's going to maybe be one of those guys to look out for from the back as he makes his way towards the front.
Do you think that these guys are going to kind of have an aggressive start, or would you anticipate them kind of hanging back for a while?
I think it's going to be real aggressive right at the start. I think we'll see some 2 and 3 wide action, guys testing out that top lane. But I think we will settle out and go to green flag run in before anything happens. Just as you see these guys kind of strolling around for the heat, keeping their cars in line. We're not sending anybody home. We're just throwing it out there, and I think it's going to be good.
And I was just going to say that you have some experience racing, so I know in a lot of instances you can't keep other people from crashing into you, but how can you try to avoid as much as possible from getting into a crash if there's just chaos in front of you?
Oh, that's funny you say that. Malia just got crashed into today, and I was doing everything I could to prevent it. You know, you can stay in the back, you can try to run to the front, you can employ pit strategy. There's all kinds of things you can do, but if somebody's just going to run into you, there's very little you're going to be able to do about it. I think it's at the end of the day, these guys are going to have a difficult time, you know, finding space in those packs, but they're going to be running hard. And that's going to be the key, I think, to this opening sequence, is who can make up the most ground while the cars are bunched together before they get spread out. One guy that we didn't really bring up that we should be focusing on is last week's winner, Tate Lytle, starting second, looking really strong. And hey, how about Daytona 500 winner Cameron Rich right here in 4th spot?
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of who makes their way this race, who kind of comes up and points a little bit. So it looks like we have a new graphic up here on the screen from Josh.
Starting lineup: Matthew Bayuk starting 5th, and teammate Nick and Delicato starting 3rd. Wonder if they'll try to keep that track position this week. Last week they pitted on the first caution, or didn't pit on the first caution, fell all the way to the back of the field. I think Nick barely got into the top 10. Damian Leininger starting 13th. We've already been on board with him. Colin Fambro back in 18th. He was in the top 5 last week. Ethan Burrell as well. Dalton Tucker, points leader, starting 25th. And there's my pick, Matthew Weeks, starting back in 26th. This field is really close. A lot of guys that are definitely, you know, close to each other in speed. And I think we're going to see some of these guys kind of flying forward throughout the race. Chuck Sweeting and Harrison Talon are both guys to keep an eye on coming from the back. Same for Josh Adams in 37th. With that, we will begin the pace laps. Maybe we can bring up that top 10 one more time, Josh, just to kind of clarify who's going to be running right at the front of the field. Yes, grid the top 10. Yep, there we go. Just so that we're clear on who's running where as we get started. James Heater starting 6th. Nick Massey, last year's champion, starting 8th. Chris Wright, who's been one of the most consistent drivers up until last week when he kind of faltered at the end, starting 9th. Ryan Lutz will be starting 11th, and Jeff Green 12th there. So I'd keep an eye on pretty much everyone in this front group to run well. As we come off turn 4, pace car down pit road. They will go green at Homestead, and Scott Crump leads them to the green flag. See how this new Highline fares, whether or not anyone ventures up there yet. Tate Lytle sideways. He's going to save it. Great piece of driving by Tate Lytle. Everyone swings underneath, but the caution flag is out. And Emily, I think we kind of predicted that was gonna happen there. That was the first lap was gonna be a bit of a slugfest.
I think that's the fastest caution we've had.
Yeah, huge wreck. You know, got a lot. We saw Tate Lytle get sideways. A lot of guys, I think, were kind of expecting there to be more grip. So David Strack being involved, Josh Adams involved. Looks like it started at the front and accordioned all the way to the back of the field.
Going to be interesting to see how much damage was actually done to these cars.
Dylan Thomas involved heavily there, and let's see if he catches. Oh, caught Jordan Owens going by. Everyone else seems to have slowed for the wreck, though I think the 99 involved. I think got Scott. So got the 50 of Joe Francis involved, last week's sponsor. David Strack being involved, and 13 is Tyler McIntosh involved in that one as well. So with us now is Dom Santina. And Dom, we just had a big one entering turn 1 on lap 1 of the Homestead race, the Batflip 150 here. Join up with us and see what you can see. Maybe we can take a look. Woo, what a great job dodging the wreck there by McIntosh, though he does get a little damage and spun out there. Looks like he maybe got run into by Joe Francis.
Yeah, I came on just as you were talking about it there, David, and sounded like it was quite the big one.
Yep, Josh Personette slowed to a stop as well. Harrison Talon slowed to a stop. A lot of good dodging, but a lot of guys got kind of unfortunately sucked up in that one. Here is Jordan Owens. Gonna just get clipped. He takes into Chad Bear. Great job by Ethan Burrell getting by. We might want to ride on his on board as well. Michael Goodman did a great job getting through there. Owens really did a great job of handling that without taking out too many other cars, despite getting sent back towards the field. Here's Ethan on board with Ethan Burrell, right behind Jordan Owens now, and you see the smoke, the new smoke palette from iRacing. Owens is gonna oof right in front of Ethan Burrell. So we kind of thought that this race would start out chaotic, but maybe Emily can go into some of these chats, maybe perhaps the Pro Edge chat, see what Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell thought of their little situation there. Tate getting sideways to start, and then Ethan making a crazy wreck avoidance to dodge out of Jordan Owens. Josh, I don't know if you want to run the commercial now under this caution flag, but we could do that since we didn't have it. So you're watching ERSCA on the Belly Up Sports channel. We'll be right back. That was a commercial for the Elite Racing League, and many of those drivers are running in tonight's race. So if you want to see guys like Tate Lytle and Ryan Lutz run more, you can tune in over there on the Elite Racing Network YouTube channel. Now that Emily Harlan's back from going in and talking with, I believe, the Pro Edge guys. Emily, you got anything for us there?
Yeah, Ethan said that it could have been a lot worse. Or he said he dodged a bullet there, and he thought that Jordan caught it, and and Jordan agreed and said that it definitely could have been a lot worse. So they're not too worried about the crash, especially the fact that it just happened on that first lap. So I think the guys are doing all right in Pro Edge.
Good to hear from those guys. And now that we've brought in Dom Santina, Dom, as we go back to green, who do you think your pick's going to be for this race as we got everyone else's pick going forward?
Well, I think that I was just looking through the results. I was thinking Scott Crump, but I think I'm going to go in Delicato here. He's got 2 top 10s in the last 2 weeks, running in the second spot, looking here to battle for it at the restart with Cameron Rich. But I'm going to go with Delicato here for the win.
Yeah, let's see if these guys can make it through a clean lap. I think a couple of guys got kind of half committed to the top lane. They wanted to try to get a shot at that new grip strip, and then ended up too low, and that got him sideways. We didn't even really talk about it, but Dylan Thomas was heavily involved in that, and I believe Matthew Weeks missed the start of this race. He'll have to come back from 2 laps down. So my pick already not looking great. I think that was maybe some internet issues. Battle is now for the lead as Cameron Rich has just flown up to the rear end of Scott Crump. That 47 car looking sporty. We haven't seen much from him since his win at Daytona.
No, a couple bad weeks. Now looking to get back up here and trying to be a contender to be the first one to repeat here early on in the ERSCA season, giving Scott Crump all he can handle at the moment.
With everyone else kind of filing back here, Ryan Lutz trying to pick his way forward. Already moved up a spot on James Heater. Now he'll be after Jared Mogard. His sponsor there, the Batflip Podcast, the same as the race sponsor. So be pretty cool to see the race sponsor go ahead and win the race. He almost won at Iowa last year, as we recall, but a late caution with 2 laps to go cost him as he stayed out and everyone else pitted. Another one moving to the front here, Nick Massey, last year's champion in the 48 car, started back in, I believe, 8th, and he is already up into 4th around Nick and Delicato, following Tate Lytle back through there. So Massey and Lytle, this is 2 of those guys I kind of expect to be there at the end of the season looking for the championship.
Yeah, Nick Massey not really been able to kind of execute so far and run up front. Like we said, we kind of keep an eye on him all season long because he is the defending champion, but already in the top 5 early on, just 10 laps in to the Batflip 133.
Ryan Lutz drives on by Matthew Bayuk there, and Lutz kind of picking his way forward early. You can see that 36 car is pretty sporty. Trying to go after Jared Mogard, who was pretty impressive last week, ran up in the top 5 for a good portion of the race. I don't believe he finished up there, though. I think Mogard just probably needs to get completely through a race here as we go forward. If he wants to really kind of push up in the points. I think he's like 8th in points or so, but not quite at that same level of some of those guys like Dalton Tucker, who's been in the top 5 every week.
Still looking Crump able to still hold off Cameron Rich for the time being. Gap standing about 0.3 of a second.
We're with 11th place right here. This is Jeff Green, former Xfinity Series champion, Busch Series champion when he was running it. Back through Damian Leininger, Richard Hines, and Ethan Burrell. 11th through 14th, the battle here. It's kind of waiting for it. Here's Ethan Burrell running the top lane. I was waiting for that. Big moment there. Zishan Dura and Colin Fambro get into it. That was for about 18th place, and Zishan with a great save. He's going to hold on to it, prevent the caution from coming out.
Yeah, another great save there as we look back at Colin Fambro. Looks like Tyler Riggs up there as well.
Been thinking Tyler Riggs was going to really push forward and have a pretty strong season, but I think some internet woes have been plaguing that 26 car to the point that he's had to miss a race, I think, and been blinking out of some other races, got involved in a wreck at Iowa. Just not a great start to the season for Riggs. He ran up front in the Clash, I believe it was, but just hasn't been able to put the results together.
Yeah, I think you're right, David. He had a pretty strong showing in the Clash, too. But just hasn't been able to follow it up. Like you said, just a few different issues here and there causing that 26 car. We'll see if he can turn it around right now, running in the 21st position.
Ooh, crash hard on the back straightaway. Ty McIntosh, after a great save in that first wreck, looks like the damage maybe causing a little bit more issues there, and McIntosh able to get it back on track without causing a caution. If we, here we go. This is the McIntosh issue, and he's going to come up the track into the 8 car there, and yep. Ooh, oh man, big hit. But if you're off the track and off the racing surface, iRacing doesn't recognize that there's a car there and it won't throw the caution flag. So for now, we stay green. Crump over Cameron Rich. Tate Lytle still running third and waiting for these tires to fall off and maybe some guys to venture to the top of the track.
Yeah, we'll see if they make their way up there. It's the familiar line that you see, everyone running right close to the wall in Homestead. See how long it takes for them to get up there. David, how long do you think it'll take before we see these tires really start to wear off?
They're wearing off right now, man. 10 laps at Homestead. You're already half a second to a second slower per lap. And saving the tires is so crucial at Homestead. You have to be really, really careful with it. You don't want to really grind the tires as you enter these corners. And I think that's maybe why these guys aren't venturing to the top. They would have to really be abusing the tires to run that top grip strip. But when the tires get old, I wonder if those guys will venture up there and try to take advantage of that, since the tires are already old at that point, not really worth saving. Nasty
Be
holding.
interesting to watch for sure.
Nasty holding here behind Tate Lytle. Nobody making a move in this top 10. The battle is not here. James Heater in 10th, holding out, but Thomas Sherman and Dalton Tucker, the points leader. Tucker is the one moving forward. He has bypassed Richard Hines, bypassed Thomas Sherman. This 24 car is looking like he's wanting to get back to the front. Maybe a blip in qualifying and a mistake or two that kind of cost him. But for now, he's moving right back up forward and hopefully to challenge for this lead eventually. He's 14th now.
We'll have to keep an eye on that 24 car throughout the night, see what happens.
This is the first side-by-side battle on the track. Josh Adams and Colin Fambro. Adams sporting the Brandon Key sponsored car. Key is out with some health concerns, so we wish Brandon the best. We hope he's watching from home and is hoping his driver can pull out a good result for him. Josh is one of those guys that I've been waiting to jump up here and challenge for a win, and hasn't made that happen just yet. But I think given time, Josh Adams will be up to the front of the field.
Yeah, that would be pretty special to go to victory lane in that 95 car tonight with the Brandon Key sponsored car. Thoughts and prayers are with Brandon Key. Saw the announcement, I think right after we got off the air, maybe the next day last week. Hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully soon he can get back to racing with us.
Trying to, man, we're getting a lot of good cars airtime today. Josh Clark there moving forward, the Pro Edge car, and there's Chuck Sweeting and Harrison Talon side by side. A couple of guys I was running with earlier today. They're closing in the back bumper of the 15 car. Josh Personette behind them. Good battle here, and we're kind of seeing Chuck drive the top lane, but you see how loose Chuck gets at the top, and that's going to cost him the spot. Around him goes Personette, around him goes Stanley, Marshall Stanley, the 25 car.
Here comes Dura to the bottom of the line.
And so Bijan Dura had that issue off turn 2 earlier in the race. He's making his way back towards the front of the field, and Tyler Riggs, Matthew Weeks side by side. Weeks coming back. He's 2 laps down, guys. It's not looking good for my pick.
Still plenty of time left to go in this one, and he can just kind of stay and maybe get a few laps back during caution. You never know what can happen.
Kyle Hanshaw here in the 46 car. Sporting a new scheme this week. We've seen that 46 be a kind of a black and white scheme, now running the green and white with the silver numbers. Love the look on that car. We're up to the front of the field. 12th place, Damian Leininger. Another car that I absolutely love, the Alan Kulwicki Throwback. This is courtesy of Ryan Lutz Designs, and they worked really hard on this car. 3-4 hours worth of paint and trying to get those shades right to make this thing look good.
Of course, running our Belly Up Sports Series sponsor as well.
Yep, and Damien hosts the Batflip podcast, which is the sponsor of this race. So every time I see Damien or Lutz on track, kind of shout it out a little bit there because Damien paid for the race sponsorship. He wants those mentions. Go listen to the Batflip podcast if you like baseball. He and Matt Arcaro do a wonderful job. Just go breaking down the transactions, the happenings of the week throughout the season. They're fantastic. First, oh man, 3 wide for third. Nick Delicato has gone around Massey and is trying to go around Tate Lytle as well.
Yeah, we'll watch here as Indelicato will dive to the bottom. Massey trying to go with him, running kind of a middle line there between Indelicato and Lytle. Looks like Indelicato will get it.
Wonder if Indelicato's been saving those tires a little bit. 01 car looking real strong. We haven't seen him come up to the front and lead laps or capture a win or anything like that. But he's been reliably a top 10 car so far this year. And the guy who I think has been leading the most laps is these two guys right here, Tate Lytle and Ryan Lutz. Those guys have been up front a bunch this season. We've had the Daytona race, which was won by second place Cameron Rich, but it featured a lot of guys leading. But the two races we've had since then, Tate Lytle led a lot of laps at Atlanta, himself and Ethan Burrell, and then Ryan Lutz led just about every lap at Iowa until the last one.
Yeah, the trend continued last week in Atlanta, not the dominant car winning. This time it was because of pit issues on pit road, and Tate Lytle able to come away with the race win. We'll see what happens here. It looks like Scott Crump, as we've gone on so far, has kind of been the class of the field, but still got a long way to go, over 100 laps left to go here in Homestead.
Cameron Rich really just hunting him down. I think both guys are saving their tires a little bit early in this one, trying to keep the wheels on it, keep this thing as fast as possible throughout the long run. And that was one of our keys of the race, was how you're going to attack these long runs. Rich and Crump have been really solid about running that same line, just one lane off the bottom. Definitely the best way to save tires is what they're doing right now. Battle is for 8th. James Heater, who we saw fall back a little bit at the start. Wonder if he was holding back and saving those tires. He has started to march through the field now around Chris Wright and Matthew Bayou. Jeff Green also in this battle, and I think right behind them is Dalton Tucker, who's moved up to 12th. Points leader. Waiting for this 24 car to break through and win a race. He's been in the top 5 all year. Bayou now trying to get around Wright. We saw Wright fall back after a couple of laps last week. Wonder if he burns off his tires a little too much. He's been one of those guys running that top groove. Can't help but wonder if that's what's hurting those tires and hurting that car right now.
Yeah, you feel like it's only going to be a matter of time before Dalton Tucker actually does take that 24 car to victory line. We'll see if it'll be happening this week, but
big move there. That's Josh Adams around Johnny Thomas, and Josh is up to 17th. 95 car really making headway, and Johnny having a fairly solid run, a little better than he was at Atlanta. He was really struggling on those old tires. See if the same happens here for Johnny. Meanwhile, though, Adams moving forward.
You think we'll see a lot of like what we saw at Iowa, David, with a lot of comers and goers throughout the race?
We'll have to see. I think that Homestead generally lends itself to that, but this is iRacing. It's not nearly the same as it is in real life, and so especially with this grip strip up top, we really haven't seen guys move up there and look to run that. Maybe they're trying to hold off from running the wall too early. We have about to hit 100 laps to go in this race as we watch Tyler Riggs maybe be one of the ones running it. I wonder if there's going to be some people that start to get closer and closer to the front. We watch Dalton Tucker get into the top 10 now. He appears on our board. 24 car, man, he is moving forward from 25th starting spot up to 10th.
Well, I think Josh Sobel, our producer, just put up a graphic while we were talking there that Adams, I think, has already moved up 20 spots. So there are some cars making their way up. I haven't really seen anybody heading backwards yet, but some cars are making their way up, like you said, Tucker and Adams. 2 of them we're going to keep our eye on throughout the night.
One car I think is moving backwards is Tate Lytle. He has started up there in second spot. He's already back to 7th behind Jared Mogard now, though. Tate tends to run it a little bit soft in the early part of the run, but he'll pick it back up as the race goes along, especially once you get into green flag pit stops. That tends to be where Tate Lytle really excels. So I'm not necessarily worried about Tate being one of those goer cars, but he and Chris Wright, the two that are kind of consistently moving backward right now. And yeah, I would be a little bit worried if I were a fan of the 56 or the 69. Just got to keep an eye on whether or not those cars are going to stay where they are or move backwards more consistently.
While you were talking, I was watching that interval. James Heater is running down that 56 car. He's closed in. Now it's kind of stabilized a little bit, but he's got it within half a second now. He's closing in to see if he'll make the pass for that 7th position here in the next few laps.
We saw James Heater drop back on the restart. He fell back to about 10th spot and has been fairly consistently climbing back through the field. Can't help but wonder if that's a calculated move by Heater and something he's trying to do with the tires, kind of saving up and then moving back forward. It's certainly the way I run these mile-and-a-half tracks when I'm driving them is Gerald Campbell pushing back towards the front, now up to 14th. Second in points there is the 31 car.
Just got around Damian Leininger there for the 14th spot.
Campbell, winner at Iowa Speedway a couple of weeks ago, took it from Ryan Lutz late. And the guy marching forward, this 95, Josh Adams, he's always sneaky good at these mile-and-a-half tracks. The guy falling back behind Josh Adams was last week's dominant car. Ethan Burrell really has not been able to figure out this mile-and-a-half track with the new grip strip. He's trying it out up there. Doesn't seem to be making any inroads.
Now there's Colin Fambro to the inside, looking to take another spot for him as well. He's got Johnny Thomas right there behind him as well, looking to the inside, looking to take another spot away from the 37 car.
Looks like we got one blowing up on the apron here and heading to pit road. Not sure who it is, but could be maybe that 13 of McIntosh, possibly the 03 of Dylan Thomas, both of them involved in some incidents so far. It is indeed Dylan Thomas that has blown the motor on the 03 car. So I think he finished top 10 last week, or he might have gotten involved in the wreck with Damian Leininger and some others. So tough break for Dylan Thomas. Certainly hasn't been the start to the year that he wanted. Nick and Delicato kind of running down Cameron Rich and Scott Crump. Those two have kind of worked together to pull away, but now as Heater's gone around Lytle, and Lytle now in the clutches of Matthew Bite.
Yeah, and here comes Heater under Mogard as well. He's looking to take the 6th spot away from Jared Mogard. So James Heater coming alive a little bit here.
Got to be careful with that slide job up the track, and Heater was not able to complete that pass. Mogard and Heater still side by side, and that's where you can have an incident, is you can slide up in front of someone and not be clear and turn yourself into the outside wall. So with these old tires, completing a pass is really going to have to take patience on both parties to not dump the other one and cause a caution here and really ruin each other's race. Heater and Mogard now side by side for that 6th spot once again. Heater trying to complete the pass in the bottom.
Big Matthew Bayuk past Lytle, and pretty soon here comes Tucker as well for that 9th spot.
Trying to keep an eye out throughout the field a little bit here, and just seeing some of those guys and the progress that other guys are making. The one I noticed was he's a couple of laps down, but he's all the way up to 20th from dead last, is Matthew Weeks. If he could get back in the lead lap, I think that 11 car would have something to say about this race. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get back in the lead lap as long as we're under green flag racing. The battle here for, what is this, 13th spot. Man, Gerald Campbell has flown by all 3 of these cars. 31 car is one of those that is really moving forward. And it looks, as I look up the top, I think we might have a battle for second brewing. Cameron Rich and Nick and Delicato are starting, the gap between them is starting to close. The caution is out. That'll shake things up a little bit here, I think. It'll be the 25 of Marshall Stanley. Oh man, Cameron Rich slid to avoid him. Woo!
That could have been bad.
That could have been a disaster, but the 3rd place car will remain in 3rd. Cameron Rich with an incredible job to save that 47 car and maintain 2nd spot. He'll be coming to get tires assuredly, but oh my, that nearly took out the car and that was running 2nd. And Yeah, there it is. Guy goes up to the top, gets sucked into the wall, and it ends up kind of sliding him back into the wall. And yeah, bounced off the wall a couple of times. You just want to lock it down, but they locked it down right in front of the leaders. On board with Cameron Rich. There's a car stopped in the track. He comes up, he stops, and ooh, Rich on the binders. Saves it, drives it through the grass. Luckily for him, the splitter won't dig into the grass on this virtual game, and Rich will keep on going. But maybe Emily wants to go jump in and see what Rich is thinking there. That will lead us to pit stops though, and you know, I think the only car on the entire track that's not going to pit is the 11 car, and that'll be because he's trying to get a lap back. Everybody's coming to get tires.
Well, there you go, David. Now he's going to only be 1 lap down, and still, he's just crossed less than 100 laps left to go, so plenty of times for a week to still get back in this thing.
Well, he'll be doing that to take the wave around. I'm sure we'll see him flash by up here at the top. He'll be doing that to take the wave around, and then he'll be 1 lap down, but he'll have to pit if the race goes green. So Weeks will be praying for another caution very quickly. And there he goes by the screen as Scott Crump hits pit road.
Oh, he blew through his pit box there.
Bit of an
Back up.
issue, bit of an error for Scott Crump. I wonder if Indelicato or Rich will be able to capitalize. Looks like Rich's car a little bit faster through the gears here, and in the 47 and the 01 going to be the race off pit road. It's going to be Nick Indelicato taking the lead.
So there we go, another mistake on pit road. Scott Crump blowing through his pit box. See how far he actually falls down. I think he came out 3rd. Behind Indelicato and Rich.
I think David Strackbean stayed out to lead a lap, so that will remove Crump from leading all the laps in this one. I think Strackbean will probably hop on down pit road here this time by, and we will stack them up as we otherwise would, with Nick Indelicato leading Cameron Rich, Scott Crump, and Ryan Lutz into 4th. Bit of a dangerous job for the field now as that 36 car moves closer to the lead.
Nick Massey right behind him, then James Heater, Mogard, Lytle, and Bayuk.
If I'm going to watch anything on this restart, I want to watch that 16 of James Heater. Let's see if he can kind of employ that same strategy of holding back a little on the start and then pushing forward as the longer run goes through. But we have an issue on under caution. Colin Fambro has spun the 5 car. Not sure what happened there. Looks like Chris Wright also had an issue under caution. He's way back in the field. Ty McIntosh just okay. Well, not sure what the 13 was doing there in front of the 5, and the 5 loops it to avoid him. No harm, no foul at the end of the day, but bit of a curious move by the lapped car there.
Sure, Fanbro is probably a little heated at the moment.
Certain of it. Anyway, we do have Emily back after kind of just asking what happened with Cameron Rich. Emily, what'd you have from him?
Yeah, I have to say I just completely missed everything that happened. I was in the chat and I heard the guy say, "Did somebody just crash while we're on a caution?" So I jumped back in to see what was happening. But Cameron just basically said that he was not expecting, obviously, to see a car stopped in the middle there, and he was just able to luckily avoid it. And it just kind of sounded like he wasn't really expecting. He didn't do anything crazy. It was just kind of like luck, it seemed like to him, that he was able to avoid that crash there. So, but did not see what happened just now, by the way.
No, yeah. Colin Fambro looped it trying to avoid a similar situation, actually, trying to avoid a lapped car. So 5 car has some worse tires, I think, than everyone else at this point. But thank you for the report, Emily. And hopefully Rich, finds himself in second once again, but behind a different car in Nick Indelicato here.
Yeah, we'll see what Indelicato can do now with the race lead.
Now,
second in that first restart.
Right. Now, I looked into our YouTube comments here. We've only got a couple, but one of them was from Robert Hill, who's one of the drivers in the race, the 05 car at the back of the field right now. Robert biding his time, I'm sure. He noted that there's only 3 sets of tires. So set number 1 has been taken by the entire field. They only have 2 more sets. It's going to be kind of difficult, I think, to see some guys. I don't think we're going to see anybody trying out, short pitting, taking tires after 30 laps or so. If the caution comes out in 20 laps, 10 laps, nobody's coming down pit road to take tires. here we go. Back under green flag conditions. Nick and Delicato out front and going ahead of Scott Crump and Cameron Rich, and Delicato finally in clean air. Let's see if the 01 can hold him off just like Scott Crump did, or if that 51 is really the fastest car out here.
Up to the second position. We'll see if he can hold off Rich.
This car, it just seems like it's handling very loose. We saw Tate Lytle and Dylan Thomas both sideways on lap 1. A lot of those guys back there as we snaked off of the back straightaway, just looking like they're doing their best to kind of tiptoe through this first lap after the restart, except for Ryan Lutz. He's going 3 wide at the bottom.
We'll see how it'll work out as we go into the corner. Lutz still on the corner panel there of Crump.
There's 2 guys who are just very aggressive between Crump and Lutz, and if anybody's not saving tires, it's these 2. So Rich backed out of it there to kind of let them go. Ryan Lutz, though, challenging for second. He wants that clean air.
Still Crump by half a car length as they come out of the corner. Now they draw even coming to the finish line. Nose to nose across the line, and they're closing up on Indelicato here in a hurry.
Side by side and running faster than the leader in clean air. That's impressive stuff from Ryan Lutz. He's going to try to clear himself on Crump, and he might even have a chance to challenge for the lead entering turn 3.
Yeah, we'll watch, see if that car dives down low. Here comes Crump crossing down to the inside. He's going to get under Lutz, try to take
He hit
that
the
second
apron.
position.
Woo!
Back. Got a little loose there and will have to settle into the 3rd position.
Ooh, that was a bold move by Scott Crump. Could have wiped himself and Ryan Lutz out, thought better of it, and now Ryan Lutz challenging Nick and Delicato for the lead.
Lutz looking to the inside, not close enough to draw even with Indelicato, but with how fast we saw him get around Crump and close in, it could be within another lap or 2 we see a new race leader. Lutz going to go a lane higher this time. I'll slide down to the bottom.
Battles for 3rd. Cameron Rich just blew away Scott Crump there. No, he got back to him on the outside. Side by side again for Crump. I just think if you're going side by side up on the top of the track, you're wearing your tires a little bit more. Some of these guys who've single filed out, their tires aren't getting worn. So Scott Crump has run the top a couple of times against a couple of different guys, battled pretty hard. I wonder if this 51 car might struggle now that the tires have worn a little bit more, but he's challenging back, and so is Ryan Lutz going for the lead.
I just wonder, I think that 51 car might be a little bit ill handling, and that's why he's sliding back a little bit.
No, and Delicato just popped it off the wall. Losing 2, now 3 spots is the 01 car. The leader is now Ryan Lutz, and Delicato lost it going up to the grip strip. That thing just doesn't seem, 4 down.
4, now 5. Tate Lytle going to dive to the inside of Indelicato as well. And Dalton Tucker's there. I'm sure it might be another lap or 2 unless Indelicato can get it rolling again on the high side. He's going to lose quite a few spots after making contact with the outside wall.
We got a crash in the back there, Josh. Don't know if the caution's going to come out or not. There it is. Can't tell if that's Joe Francis or who. Byron McDonald, 34 car, has looped it and back in the field now. I think he was involved with Chris Wright. Wright, one of our top 10 points guys, now back in 36th.
Well, car's rolling. We're going to stay green. We're still looking at Crump, and now we'll go look at a replay.
Yep, here is the 34 of McDonald down into off the 15. Both of them sliding sideways, and it looks like that's all. Big cloud of smoke there down the back straightaway, though. And there's Wright flashing by. Pretty sure something would have happened to him earlier in the run. Now Crump and Rich lined it up single file behind Ryan Lutz, but Lutz able to kind of hold serve there, about 4/10 ahead of Crump.
Nick Massey hanging in there in the 4 spot. Tate Lytle, Indelicato, Dalton Tucker. Delicato and Tucker's who we're looking at right now.
Single filed out. These cars are a handful to drive, I think, right now, and everybody trying to kind of get as much as they can on the bottom of the racetrack. Into 10th, though, Gerald Campbell, second in points, doing a wonderful job trying to keep pace with this kind of championship rival there in Dalton Tucker. And Ryan Lutz. Lutz is up in first. He's third in points. So Lutz is probably going to take the points lead if this holds. A lot of race to go, though. Josh Adams here as well. Josh doing a fantastic job of moving forward all day, up to 11th spot in that 95 car, kind of looking spicy. Brandon Key was having some really bad luck in this paint scheme, and Adams has really made it work. Run here for the 29 car Matthew Bayuk as well. Last week we saw him and Indelicato give up kind of their track position by taking as much as they could, and then with older tires, and they didn't make that mistake again today. They went and pitted with everybody else. They're still running top 10. So 29 and 01. Although the 01 lost the lead, he did lead a few laps, and that team of Bayuk and Indelicato running well so far today. And into the driver cam here with the Belly Up Sports Batflip podcast, sponsored at number 12 of Damian Leininger, driving on the bottom of the track. Looks like he's maybe using a little more wheel than we've seen the last couple of weeks from some of these guys. I think that's
Still not too bad though. Not overcorrecting too much, and race completely gone single file here now as we've hit lap number 54 of 133 of the Batflip 133. There's a battle now.
Except for James Heater and Josh Adams. Heater has fallen back once again. Kind of thought that would be the case. We'll have to see if the 16 is able to make his way forward again, or if maybe that car is just falling into the clutches of some faster cars.
Green looking to the inside as well.
Adams up 26 positions from his starting spot there, up to 11th now from 37th. So Adams definitely the highest mover of the race. Wonder if he'll be able to keep that going. But Scott Crump has run down Ryan Lutz. The 51, the pole sitter, has run down the Batflip number 36. And, we saw Lutz be completely untouchable earlier this year at Iowa until it took 4 fresh tires around him. Now Crump on the charge, trying to get around the 36. Looks like the tires were not worn off that 51 from running side by side early in the run.
Still a little loose though. Coming out of 4, got a little sideways. So when we get our next caution, might make a little adjustment. Tighten that 51 car up just a little bit. There's Heater going backwards once again. Jeff Green to the inside.
We got a request from the YouTube stream there to kind of just sit back and do a Fox style crank it up feature. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. We'll hold off for talking for a couple of laps. Let Josh grab some good camera shots with some cars slashing by, and we'll be back with you here shortly. With us now will be, as we kind of come back from the noise break, we'll have Ty McIntosh in after kind of going out, and we'll send it down to Emily to kind of talk to him.
Hey Ty, do you have a coffee?
Sure do.
Okay, I just want to start with just your kind of impressions of the race and kind of what happened on it for you.
Honestly, I that first wreck, I kind of couldn't do anything. We just got caught up in it. Everybody behind us didn't really do the best job of checking up, so we got caught up in that. But other than that, the rest of what happened to me was kind of my own doing, just me being an idiot, quite honestly. I had my mirror blocked, so I couldn't see Colin coming up behind me, and under yellow, so I went down to try to pit and caused him to spin out. So I want to apologize to him for that. That's just me being an idiot, not being prepared, I guess.
And I know it's kind of hindsight now, but is there anything that maybe you would have done differently to kind of avoid that situation?
I literally everything, in my opinion. I really just messed it up tonight. Well, I mean, we qualified well. I was confident going into the race, but it's shattered. I'll say that.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to say, or any shout outs that you
I want to apologize to Tom and Brandon, my crew that are with me every week. I kind of, once that happened and I looked like an idiot, I kind of threw a temper and quit. So I want to apologize to them and stack up for quitting early. But I just got a little heated.
Totally understandable. And Ty, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time, all right?
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Ty McIntosh there at the 13 car. Checking back through the field on the progress of some of those guys. Chad Bear ran top 10 all week at Atlanta. I kind of thought he was maybe going to have that same level of run, but got caught up on that lap 1 incident with some big damage and has only been able to climb back to 16.
Yeah, it looks like you can kind of see that there's a little damage on that car as we go through the field a little bit. There's Ethan Burrell.
He really thought Ethan was going to be stronger than he was. You know, with his teammate Tate Lytle up in 5th spot. Ethan way back in the field now, and Michael Goodman running 21st, though, doing a good job there for Apex Sim Sport or Sim Racing. That's Damian Leininger and Ryan Lutz's teammate.
Joe Francis.
Chuck Sweden as well.
Chuck Sweden.
Shaw back through the field. Richard Lafferty in the 8, Richard Hines in the 81. A couple of Richards right here.
Shaw gonna lose a spot, possibly team here for a moment.
46 car looks like it's struggling pretty badly here on this longer run. We did kind of have the camera on Colin Fambro back here, and Gerald Campbell holding station in 10th, but Fambro is up to 14th after sliding the tires under the caution with avoiding Ty McIntosh. We just talked. I kind of think that might be hampering that 5 car marching through the field. The one who is marching. So we got a crash on the back straightaway. It's going to be Tyler Riggs. If he stays off the track, we are going to be caution-free, and another bad break for Tyler Riggs.
Yeah, rough start to the season. We were talking about it earlier for Riggs. Going to continue here at Homestead. It looks like we'll still stay green. We're going to take a replay and look at the 26 car here.
Just loses it off the corner, and that's just a good save event ultimately, but a tough break. You know, these cars really are very loose coming off the track and coming off these corners. These guys are really having to wheel them to keep them straight. Cameron Rich has blown past Scott Crump while we were doing the interview, and he's reeling in Ryan Lutz as Lutz hits lap traffic. Man, I did not expect Chris Wright to be a lap down as McDonald in the wall.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. See how they navigate lappers. It always makes it more interesting. And we've already seen a couple incidents where lead lap cars trying to get around lappers had some issues. See if Cameron Rich can continue to close up the gap. Here comes Scott Crump into the traffic as well. McMassey right behind him. Big Lytle there in tow as well.
Still marveling at the 69 car. That's a car I thought was going to be challenging for this top 5. He is way back in the field, just having an uncharacteristically bad run. It definitely has to have some damage to be that slow at this point. Maybe even missed his pit box or something. Not sure what could have happened to suck the 69 car back so far back. Dalton Tucker and Nicky Delicato bypassing as well. So the front group here, all within 2 seconds of the leader. Top 7 under a 2-second blanket of Ryan Lutz, the leader, though he is maintaining a nice half-second cushion on Cameron Rich through lap traffic.
Yeah, we kind of saw this last week too. No one really able to pull way away from anybody else. Just kind of stayed in line, stayed close together. The one car that would dominate the majority of the night. We've seen a couple different guys lead. Crump led for a while. Lutz is out front now. but everyone kind of still staying close together.
These single file runs here, I just really thought we'd see a little more two wide, double file, guys up by the wall, guys down on the bottom racing. Everybody bottom feeding right now. James Heater very loose in the 16 car, has not been able to kind of show off that tire saving strategy he pulled off last run. 16 definitely looks a lot worse for wear in terms of tires, and Colin Fambro is going to go by him.
Adams right there in front of him as well. That's for 12th, 13th, and 14th at the moment. Adams kind of stalling out just a little bit after making a run up here close to the top 10. Hasn't really been able to advance too much farther. We got the 23 there in front of him. That's Thomas Sherman. He's in 11th, and Jared Campbell in the 10th spot. Here comes Fambro to the inside of Adams. Looks like he might be able to clear the 95 car. Yes, he will. Fambro making a run. I guess those tires might not be quite as bad as we thought they were going to be.
Definitely was worried about that, but he is okay right now. Damian Leininger trying to get after Jeff Green. Green tends to kind of over-rev the tires a little bit and then fall off as the run goes, or at least that's what happened since I've been running with him. And here's a battle for 6th spot, Nicky Delicato and Dalton Tucker. As Tucker trying to continue to move forward and kind of grab back that points lead, make sure Brian Lutz doesn't get it at the end of this race. There's that high line. Nicky Delicato finally running it with little success. He's still spot Tucker.
Yeah, our producer Josh Schimpel there just read my mind. I saw the ticker going back and forth between Tucker and Delicato battle for the 6th place position. Looks like Dalton's Tucker has got it now, and he's about ready to pull out a little bit from Indelicato. And it looks like Lytle is all over the back, and Nick Massey right in front of him as well. Could be a battle here, and they got Scott Crump. Could be a 3-car battle here for a second.
Trump car, I think, holding up Massey and Lytle. Tucker and Delicato getting side by side, pulled them away from the field for the lead. It seems like one car, last 2 weeks, we've had a mile-and-a-half track both weeks. One car is able to hold with the leader. Everyone else gets, kind of battling. This here comes State Lytle on Massey. Everyone else gets to battling, and the 2 cars pull away from the field. Whoever had the lead on the restart is the one who's able to kind of hold the lead for the run. We haven't really been able to make it to reflected stops. We tend to have a caution right at the end of the run, overall length. So Brian Lutz out front for now. I mean, the way things have been going, I think the 36 car holds the lead until caution or pit stop.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And kind of go to that same point. We've seen him be able to draw up on the back bumper of the leader, but not being able to get around him. We haven't seen the lead swap too many hands under green flag situations. David, fuel mileage wise, what are we looking at? How many laps can we go on a tank of gas?
Ooh, man, I think these guys are going to have to pit one more time. I'm not sure what the exact lappage is. I'm assuming somewhere around the 80 lap mark. We will have to. And then the last pit stop was 39, so they're going to have to pit one more time. And I think it's finding that perfect time to come down the pit road where you're not going to have to lose a lap or to the leader for too long. You might gain time by grabbing those fresh tires, but I don't think these guys are going to pit till at least lap 100. They got to let this thing run out. We usually have a caution 40, 50 laps into a run. At least we have so far this season.
There's a battle. Colin Fambro making his way up, looking for the 11th spot on the 11th spot on Thomas Sherman in the 23 car, side by side. So who knows? Maybe that little spin is a good luck charm for Fambro because he's marching through the field all of a sudden. Try to track down Jared Campbell for that 10th spot. He's right up there in front of him in the 31 car.
See if Gerald can kind of hold these guys off. Seems like Colin Fambro is the one on the march in this run. 5 car, definitely one of the stronger cars on the track, hunting down the second place in points driver. Cameron Rich, really impressive drive from this 47 car. He's been good all race long, and the kind of unfortunate part is that he was so bad in the last couple of races. It's really pushed him down in points, even though he's got a win. We don't have the win then you're in system here in ERSCA. We have a older style point system. It's all about whether or not you can maintain the points for the entire season. Very important to grab as many points as you can.
Josh Adams getting around James Heater. That's, I think, outside the top 15. Oh, that's...
Went hunting for Cameron Rich's results because I wanted to kind of show what happened here. Cameron Rich has a 43rd place finish at Iowa. Made it only 7 laps. I think there was something on his end, and then 36th last week at Atlanta. I think the 47 has really fallen on some tough times since that Daytona victory.
I think Indelicado just hit the wall again there down the back stretch. Yeah, Cameron Rich. I mean, literally from first to worst. And then another bad run last week. And then following it up here with another good run. Still got a ways to go. But, I mean, drastic differences on each end of the spectrum for that 47 car.
It's not going to be the way to win that championship. You know, he's 20th in points right now. You're going to have to be more consistent. You can't just get away with winning that one race like you can in the current NASCAR standings. You have to be consistent in this series. You're going to have to run up front for a long time. And you see one of those guys that's running up front who's been consistent every week, Tate Lytle, up here in 3rd place. He's bypassed this group. He's running down Cameron Rich. I think this 56 car is one of those guys to watch out for the championship. This is another impressive run where, you know, his teammate Ethan Morrell hasn't been able to kind of hold with him. Jared Bogart's down in 9th. The guys around him in points are not running as well as Tate Lytle is. He has been very impressive each and every week. He even had an opportunity to win at Daytona, though he got taken out on that last lap crash.
Oh, and we were just showing another car that's been very consistent so far early in the season. He's running the 6th position right now. That's the 24 car of Dalton Tucker, trying to look to get around Nick Massey here. Champions win their championships on their bad days, and consistency is the #1 thing to win a championship, and these two guys are doing both of those. And having a bad day, being 36th and 42nd is not gonna get it done, especially when you're racing these type of guys.
Right. Everybody here is just so fast. You know, we've got just a lobby full of really good drivers here in ERSCA, and you know, we've got guys like Damian Leininger and Gerald Campbell are deep in the top 10. Those guys are champions in other sport, in other series. So it's definitely something that we see a guy like Dalton Tucker put together another top 10 run after he's been just basically throwing together top 10 run after top 10 run. Somebody, if he can keep doing that, I mean, he's going to waltz up to the chase with a massive cushion and be able to maybe put forward even better results in the chase. You got to be able to stay consistent, stay running well week in and week out. You know, Nick Massey, even Scott Crump, who had those issues early on, but if Crump can run like this for the rest of the season, that's going to really boon those problems that he had early.
It was a 24 race season, so not going to win everyone, and like we've been just talking about for the last few minutes, consistency is key, and Dalton Tucker just hanging in here now, looking for a top 5 as he looks under Nick Massey in the 48 car. Scott Crump in trouble.
Nope, going to pit road. Trying to short pit it a little bit here. The first one to come down pit road, Scott Crump, the pole sitter. And this is a fine and good strategy if we go green. If we do not, Scott Crump has thrown the race away right there. We'll have to see if we go green throughout pit stops.
Well, make sure he's got to get it down to pit road speed, #1 and 2. Might be because we've seen that 51 car pretty loose throughout the day. I wonder if he just, with the tires wearing away, decided it was either come down now or he's going to lose handle. There goes Cameron Rich. He's going to follow suit, and it looks like Lutz coming as well.
You can't lose. Oh, Rich sideways entering pit road. You can't lose too much time to those guys who short pit. If you stay out, the only reason to do so is if the caution comes out. Now, these guys are expecting everyone to come down behind them, cut this run in half. I think we're going to have some guys that stay out. I think Tate Lytle will be down pit road shortly. But, if you're Colin Fambro, who's been up front, but you're not, having the most consistent of seasons, why not just run this thing as long as it goes?
Tate Lytle inherits the race lead in the 56 car. Dalton Tucker in second, Nick Massey in third. We'll keep an eye on your race later to see when he comes down pit road. He went at least a lap longer than everyone else. Keep an eye on it as we go, as you see him putting Lutz and
yeah, that's Cameron Rich, a lap down.
Rich a lap down. They'll obviously get it back once Lytle pits.
A lot of guys have come down pit road. Chad Baer's been on pit road, and you can see Chad Baer was way back, 16th, 15th spot, and he is now ahead of Ryan Lutz and Cameron Rich on track. Now Tate Lytle drops to the apron. He'll be headed to pit road to the service of his crew. Harrison Talon on pit road as well.
And there goes Massey, going to inherit the lead from everyone else. He's going to stay out. But Scott Crump, Lutz, and Rich have all right ahead of him, so they're back on the lead lap. A full lap down, though.
Remember that there is a bonus point for leading a lap in this series, and as we've been kind of going over, you want to lead laps. You want to get up there and throw in a bonus point whenever you can. Nick Massey, that 1 point might be the difference between winning a championship and not. You have to grab as many as you can. Massey stays out an extra lap. Maybe it'll cost him a little bit of time on track to those guys with fresh tires, but for now, he'll take the lead. He'll take the point. Matthew Bayuk to the lead. Thomas Sherman going to work underneath him for the lead.
So it looks like Cameron Rich was okay after kind of getting loose in there, coming into pit road. Didn't lose too much time with the mistake. As we look at your battle for the race lead, I'm assuming these guys will come down pit road here in a second.
We'll see. They can stretch it out a little bit longer. I think they don't have to come down pit road. The key for this will be that the caution flies for them. If the caution were to fly, it'll put these guys, Bayou, Sherman, Gerald Campbell, directly into the catbird seat. They'd be the leaders with track position. They'd have the freshest tires. If the guys that have made it back on the lead lap stay out, these guys would be the ones that have those extra tires with fewer laps on them.
Here goes Thomas Sherman to the inside, looking for the race lead. They're going to go around Nick Massey.
Something's wrong with no, he just came off pit road. That's what it is. Massey just came off pit road. You can see the difference that fresh tires makes. Fambro underneath and around both the leaders. Now Sherman will get the lead, and he'll lead a lap, collect a bonus point.
Yep, Fambro, and it looks like Damian Leininger are both coming off pit road as well with Nick Massey. You've seen him blowing by. The difference there between new tires and old tires. Looks like Tyler Riggs on old tires, possibly?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, looking pretty slow there in the 26 car.
First car on new tires on the left side of your screen will be Ryan Lutz, or Cameron Rich right behind him. Those guys are going to be the battle for the lead once Sherman and Bayou pit.
And this does become a very dangerous situation with these guys out here on older tires trying to get down to pit road with guys blowing by him like James Heater. It can become pretty hairy trying to get to pit road, and this is where potentially you could see a caution come out, trying to cut down in front of somebody.
This is why staying out tends to be the riskier strategy. It's all dependent on whether or not a caution does come out. But if one flies, it benefits these guys. Now, every time someone jumps back on the lead lap, Chuck Sweeting the last to do so, Johnny Thomas will be the next to do so. That makes it harder and harder for these guys to actually gain anything from that caution. All these guys that have already pitted will just stay out, collect the wave around. These guys will be, I think, right in front of them, but it will be close. And you see only 6 cars now have not hit yet.
Yeah, Lutz in there in the 7th position when everybody cycles around. Finch, Mogard, Adams, Campbell, Bayuk, and Sherman come down. And kind of interesting to see that Adams has not gone down.
There it is.
Road caution on the racetrack.
There it is. Thomas Sherman gets the caution he needed. And it's going to be Robert Hill, the 05. He had struggled last week on older tires. Wonder if that played a part in this spin. But, man, what a break for Sherman. What a disaster for the Ryan Lutz-Cameron Rich combo. They will stay out and collect the lead, but they will be on 10 to 15 lap older tires than the Thomas Shermans and Matthew Bayuks. see if Gerald Campbell, Sherman, Bayuk will have something for those guys.
Well, one guy I'm really going to watch is that 95 car of Adams. He's been coming all day, kind of stalled out, but now he's going to have newer tires.
Ooh, Nick and Delicato hit the wall, avoiding Robert Hill there. The guy they know is Bob Mountain struggled it through turn 3 there, and it's watching Delicato's on board. Bounces it off the wall. I guess that scrubbing the wall is better than clobbering into the car spinning in front of you.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll take a little bit of damage there. Hopefully it doesn't affect any tire issues, and he should be okay, but we'll keep an eye on that 0-1 car for sure. And there you see the guys coming down pit road, Jared Campbell pulling into his pit box.
Mogart as well as Bayuk and Sherman. Though that will be your race leader, though he will have older tires than everyone else around him in Ryan Lutz,
There's
Cameron
Scott
Rich.
Crump going back down pit road.
Well, when you're, 10th or 15th, I think that going down pit road is a good move here. They'll be behind, 5 or 6 guys, but Crump's been faster than all those guys so far, and the tires have 20 laps on them here.
We'll see how it plays out. That's going to be one to watch for sure.
So an interesting move from Crump there, and Delicato as well going to come down and take the last set of tires on the 01 and the 51 there. So might as well use them if you've got them, though those guys I think are giving up a little bit more track position than they might have otherwise wanted to.
Well, only thing that'll be interesting to see is we just crossed less than 39. We got 39 laps left to go. They are out of tires. They have no more sets of tires. So all these guys that stayed out, like Lutz, Rich, Lytle, Tucker.
And another record of caution. Oh my. Anyway, I was going to say, if you Emily, if you jump in there with Scott Crump, maybe you can get a kind of an idea of what that call is about. Ooh, coming up on the back of the field, looped it there. So, pretty normal issue. I think everything's all right with Riggs, and he'll be back going once again.
But yeah, saying it'll be interesting. If we get another caution late in the race, maybe 5-10 to go, tire strategy definitely going to play a big factor, because these guys out front will be able to have then fresher tires compared to someone like Scott Crump, who's out of tires, can't go down pit road and get more.
Exactly. And the other note is that Thomas Sherman will be restarting 10th with 10 to 15 lap fresher tires than the entire rest of the top 10. So can Sherman work his way through the field with the big tire advantage? I think that's going to be a pretty significant advantage for Sherman, Bayou, Campbell. Those guys are going to be moving forward at a pretty speedy rate. The question is whether or not Ryan Lutz and Rich can get out to a big enough lead that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Makes it a little bit more interesting as we close in on the end of this Batflip 133.
Doing a great job there. Thanks to our sponsors, Days Gone By, Ohio Ultra Express, the Batflip podcast, sponsor of this race today, Colonial Metal Products, Butt Kicker, Tap In Software, and of course, Belly Up Sports. So thanks to them. Emily's back with us here. Emily, what'd you hear from Scott Crump?
So Scott just had a quick few words. He said he's just hoping, that it goes green the rest of the way here, and he thinks he'll be all right. But obviously, if it goes to a caution, it's not going to look too good for him. So we'll see how the rest of the race plays out.
I think that's great analysis from Scott, and thank you so much for grabbing that for us, Emily. And he's in a position where if this race goes green, the 51 will look like a genius. So will Thomas Sherman and some of those other guys. But I think if this race throws together several cautions, we will see the Cameron Rich and Ryan Lutz crew really step forward and take out these these guys who are going to have to stay out on old tires now, who don't have any more sets.
There's a lot of big names right there outside the top 10. You look at Thomas Sherman, and then you got Adams, Crump, Johnny Thomas is back there. There's a lot of guys lurking back there in that group. Campbell as well, to have some fresher tires that could be making a run up to the front. We'll have to watch as we get ready to go green once again. in the bat flip 133, coming to complete lap number 96, put 97 on the board, and here we go, out to the race lead. Lutz back in control.
That was a just dreadful restart by the bottom lane. It's going to allow Thomas Sherman to pick up a couple of positions on the top and allow Cameron Rich and Tate Lytle to go side by side for second.
Tate Lytle diving to the inside of Cameron Rich, trying to steal away that second position. Dalton Tucker sitting back there in the 4th spot, watching these two go at it.
Looks like Lytle now edging ahead as they come down to the stripe there, coming up to not 100 laps down in this race. The battle way back here, 3 wide between guys with fresh tires. Johnny Thomas, Gerald Campbell, Josh Adams.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting.
What's on?
Yeah, it's going to get interesting, as you were mentioning there, David. Here comes Scott Crump. Could get a little hairy back here as guys want to start to make the move already, knowing they got fresher tires. But battling each other is not really going to help the situation back here outside the top 10. They kind of need to go together and make their way through, pick their way through these guys up front. We'll see how it progresses throughout the race.
Was just about to say, I think Tate Lytle is challenging close to Ryan Lutz for the race lead. Tate really does tend to wait till the end of these races to make his move. We saw it last week. Didn't wait until he got to that final restart where he took the lead from Ethan Burrell and held it all the way to the end. Now Lytle having an opportunity to challenge Ryan Lutz at lap 100 here in the bat flip 133. Looking to the outside of the 36 car.
Yeah, going the lane higher, working towards that outside line, not going to be able to make enough. Lutz will able to clear him.
Good battle.
Into the race lead once again.
Good battle between these guys. These guys run together all the time, and they're definitely the good kind of rivals that are going to push each other hard to run better, kind of as opposed to those guys that might run into one another. And Lutz and Lytle now, kind of this is go time. There's no tire conservation left. You gotta go. You gotta try hard. Trying to look back there for the fresh tired guys. Gerald Campbell, the only one still in the top 10. No one's been able to make any ground as here comes Tate Lytle. Underneath Ryan Lutz, going for the lead.
Can he clear him coming out of the corner? Lutz hanging on him. Looks like he's got it. Tate Lytle will take over the race lead. He'll clear him out of the corner. Down the backstretch they go, heading to 3 and 4. Tate Lytle back out front, a familiar position to where we saw him end the race at Iowa last week. But here comes Lutz right back to the bottom, looking to take the lead back away from Tate Lytle.
Well, it's not done. He challenges back. Now they're side by side. Could this open the door for Cameron Rich to steal away the lead here in the late stages of the race? Dalton Tucker, Nick Massey still looking on in case these guys make contact. Lytle's going to lose the lead back to Lutz. What a great move by Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, Ryan Lutz coming right back after Tate Lytle. Now here comes Cameron Rich looking to the inside. Not quite there yet. At his quarter panel, might make the move here in 3 and 4. Lytle not realizing it's there. Almost a hairy moment between Rich and Lutz. Rich going to get loose, slide up the racetrack. It's going to give the second spot back to Lytle. Here comes Dalton Tucker.
Tucker and Massey with the big run on the outside after Rich bounced it off the apron. Now Dalton Tucker into third. He has been moving forward all day long. Could the 24 cars come up here and challenge for the win?
We haven't seen him in victory lane yet, but we have been singing his praises all night long about how consistent he's been running. Look at Nick Massey. Don't count the 48 car out either. He's up to the 4th spot looking to battle with Rich here. Rich had a kind of a bad restart, and now it's continuing as he's getting pushed to the back here, out just at the back half of the top 5 now.
I looked at the point standings. Lutz, 3rd in points. Tucker, 3rd place. He's 1st in points. Tate Lytle, 6th in points. Up in the top 5. Everyone really, looking to push forward. Massey, 8th in points. Campbell back here in 7th. He is 2nd in points. These guys are doing everything right to continue to pad their points leads and get those positions lined up for this chase. It's not too many races until that final, horn sounds for the cutoff.
Hey, David, they're coming. They're 6th, 7th, and 8th. Adams, Crump, and Campbell starting to make their way through. Give them a few more laps. They might get up there. They're closing in on Cameron Rich right now.
15 lap fresher tires for Josh Adams and Scott Crump. Will they be able to make them work? You know, I thought Thomas Sherman and Matthew Bayuk would be able to make a little bit more ground, but they're 9th and 10th. They have gained time, I think, to where they were before the caution flew. So, or before even green flag pit stop started. So a good move ending up for Bayuk and Sherman, though, may not be like a race winning move. So for now, though, Lutz holding bay with Lytle. Crump, the one kind of making rows here. He has flown by Campbell, trying to get by Adams and be that lead car with fresh tires.
You know, I was really thinking that if it was going to benefit any one of these cars, it might be Adams. You know, we've been talking about all night. He's been the biggest mover, up 20+ spots, and then he kind of stalled out for a little while. But with these fresh tires now, I thought for sure that this 95 car would start to really make his way towards the front, and I think he's got some help from Crump to push him up here. But these two are going to be the two, I think, to watch, to see if they can make their impact on the race leaders. Here comes Crump diving to the inside. Look at the momentum, and he'll easily take the spot away from Adams.
I think that's a move by Adams to kind of let the faster car carve through the traffic and attack him later. You know, in sim racing, I want to say you don't see guys just giving off the spot very often, right? And it's something that we see in real racing all the time, right? Mark Martin was kind of the king of just letting a car by for the gain of both drivers. And I just don't see that a whole lot in sim racing right now. A lot of take, not a lot of give. But it's the kind of thing where if Josh Adams can kind of come back, hold station with this 51 car, let him open up the door for a couple of these faster cars, and then Adams can go back after him if they go side by side. I think it's a smart
Cameron Rich definitely going in the wrong direction. Back to the 7th position now, and he's going to be under attack from Campbell and Bayou here in a minute. 31 and 29 car now teaming up again on fresh tires. And I feel like with these guys coming, this could be the trend for these guys out front. I mean, Massey Tucker could be under attack here in a minute as well, and this is that, like you said, David, race-winning move by these guys staying out under green, getting that caution, and now having the fresher tires.
Well, let's not get too racy on that. It may or may not be that race-winning move. I thought that maybe it wouldn't be a race-winning move necessarily especially for like Sherman and Bayou, because Bayou bounces it off the wall entering turn 3. But it's certainly going to improve their standing as to what they were from the moment of caution. And Scott Crump may yet be able to carve through the last 4. He is on the back bumper of Nick Massey.
Yeah, that's where I was focusing, is maybe Crump or Adams. That might be their race-winning move more than Bayuk or Sherman. But there he goes around Massey, and he's up to the 4th spot. He's definitely coming. We'll just see how far he can get, because we only got 24 to go now.
You remember Emily jumped down and talked to Scott Crump, and he said if it goes green, that's where we're going to win it. If it goes under caution, that's what's going to make us look like a dummy. Tate Lytle totally sideways.
Really loose out of turn 4.
That might give Scott Crump 2nd spot.
Dalton Tucker going to jump to the outside. Here comes Crump, going to make it 3 wide. Almost made contact there with Lytle.
Let's
see if
he can get.
Move off, though.
Oh, man, Lytle really sideways exiting these corners. 56 car might have burned up the tires. Here comes Adams.
That's going to give Crump the 2nd spot. Dalton Tucker going to try to rebound and attack. And as David just said, Adams sitting back here in the 5th spot watching all this go down, looking for a way around to stay with Scott Crump. These new tires paying off big time now. Block thrown here by Lytle, trying to keep Adams behind him, and got sent a little bit there from the 95 car.
I wonder if there was contact between Lytle and Tucker there. Tucker tried to go to the bottom. Lytle was already underneath him.
Josh Adams underneath Lytle as well.
Lytle is right here. I mean, this is really close racing and fantastic driving. Tate Lytle has saved the car, I think, 3 or 4 times. Exiting the corner, being completely sideways.
He's doing all he can to keep that 56 car underneath him right now. And there goes Scott Crump blowing past Ryan Lutz for the race lead. And we have another new leader, your pole sitter, back out to the race lead, Scott Crump.
Now, what Lutz needs is a caution. You know, we kind of hit on it. Scott Crump's a sitting duck now. The tires are worn. If you get tires, look how it took Crump, 10, 12 laps to carve through the field with 15 lap fresher tires. We've run 20 or 30 laps now. So you know, these guys are going to have fresh tires. Crump would have the old tires, and it would be everyone else who does have those tires to be the ones to make that charge.
Adams under Tucker for the 3rd spot. He'll close in on Ryan Lutz as well. And those guys like Dalton Tucker, Ryan Lutz, Nick Massey, Tate Lytle, they want the caution to fly now. They don't want to give up much more time before the caution comes out. There it is.
Man, Tom, you just brought the caution out yourself. What an incredible job by the commentary just to call for the caution and got it right there. Amazing. Amazing work here in the booth.
As if the racing wasn't getting good enough already. It's going to just turn it up to another level right now.
Woohoo, boy. My goodness. Chuck Sweeting, the one involved, and I, can't help but wonder if this was tire influenced. Damian Leininger sideways off the corner, mounts off Chuck. Damian can't catch a break this season in any series he runs, man. He has been involved in a whole host of issues, and just, yeah, eventually the luck's going to turn around, Damian. It's me and you, man. We can't catch a break no matter what happens here. What a job by James Heater. Woo!
Colin Fanbro did a pretty good job there on the inside, too, diving low to avoid all that.
These cars getting loose, exiting the corners. I think back to when Lytle got sideways, it's very fortunate that no one was underneath him, or else I think that exact incident would have happened. As a result, Leininger brings out the caution. It might be the race-saving move for his teammate Ryan Lutz. Ryan Lutz will be charging through the field with fresh tires, looking to take down the likes of Scott Crump. And I want to mention that Matthew Bayuk and Thomas Sherman, by staying out on that caution, they were able to conserve that set of tires that will now allow them to charge through the field on fully fresh tires with the likes of Lytle and Lutz.
It's definitely going to be interesting here. It looks like Lutz will win the race off pit road. Dalton Tucker comes out 2nd, Adams 3rd, Massey in 4th.
Josh Adams able to come down pit road and grab tires as well because he stayed out on that caution. Just a huge moment in this race. It basically hangs Scott Crump out to dry. Emily, I think you should go maybe grab Ryan Lutz and see what they're thinking of here. Is this restart's going to be about 12 or 13 laps to carve through the field? Can Lutz do it?
I mean, David, we've talked about it already like 4 times this season. In the 4 races, we've talked about it. Like, what happens if that late race caution does come down, right? You've mentioned it many times. If you're Scott Crump, you're in trouble either way. Either you come and nobody else comes, or you don't come, and like we just saw, everybody else comes for new tires.
Well, remember, Scott Crump couldn't come. He has no tires.
Right.
He has nothing to put on. If he were to come in, Ryan Lutz is going to restart 3rd. I think that might be the key factor there, and. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, here he goes. So Jeff Green also stayed out. I'm willing to bet Green also didn't have tires, and Ryan Lutz will restart 3rd with fresh tires. It's going to be a battle between Ryan Lutz, Dalton Tucker, Nick Massey, and Tate Lytle. Will be the first 4 with fresh tires. Gerald Campbell will be 5th with fresh tires. I'm telling you guys, Scott Crump did not want to see that caution. He's going to be a sitting duck. He might finish outside the top 20.
I think Josh Adams is in the mix there as well. So the 95 car, another one of them. So it's going to be interesting for sure. A lot of good cars back there, not far to go on fresh tires. Like you said, I think Crump, he took his chance. It looked like it was going to be the race-winning move, and in the end, it could cost him dearly here by the time this is all said and done.
With Emily now. Emily, what did Lutz have to say down there?
He just basically said his strategy is to go like hell on this restart here. And he's really relying on the clean air to just kind of get him through it. So we'll see how it goes.
No, that's what a break for Ryan Lutz. His teammate crashes to open it up, and a lesser man would say, maybe they planned that, but there's no way Damian Leininger wanted to throw away a top 15 run. I undoubtedly. It was all fortune, and that's what it takes in racing. Ryan Lutz had a caution late, throw a race away for him at Iowa. Now maybe it's the time for him to get this race back.
I think I saw the 47 car of Cameron Rich head back down pit road, so I don't know if he had a speeding penalty or something wrong during the stop, but yeah, there he is coming. I'm guessing it was a stop and go, probably a speeding penalty for the 47 car.
Oh my goodness. Just a tough break. He was so good all day long, just not going to get the result. Probably. We could wad him up here completely. We do have 2 cars out front with old tires. And I think the field's going to have to really work carefully to get around them without incident.
All right, lights out on the pace truck. Here we go. We're going to have about 17 or 18 laps left to go. Scott Crump, Jeff Green on the front row with old tires for Dalton Tucker, and Ryan Lutz on the second row with a brand new, fresh Goodyear tires. Here we go. Green flag in the air. Good jump for Scott Crump, but how long will he last? Here comes Ryan Lutz, already into the second position.
That is so huge for Lutz to get that run. Now Adams the one who will be able to challenge with the fresh tires. Green sliding away. How long till the next caution comes out is the question at this point. Lutz to the lead, down the back straightaway.
Crump able to tuck into the second position, but here comes Adams underneath. Lytle coming, Tucker as well. They're going to push Crump to the high side, and he's going to fall like a rock through the field.
Oh, sideways goes Campbell.
Can he save
Sideways
it?
goes
Yes, they will.
Mogard.
Oh, they're piling off each other, but everyone keeps it under control. We're going to stay green. They're 3, almost 4 wide, deep in the field with 14 to go. Ethan Burrell back in the mix there a little bit.
Gerald Campbell and Jared Mogard both spun those cars out and brought them back. What an incredible job to save it, but now that's going to keep them, Gerald Campbell from really scoring a good top points finish day. Same for Mogard, who's top 5 in points as well. It's all Josh Adams. Tate Lytle sideways off turn 4.
56 car, still a little bit loose, and here comes the 24 of Dalton Tucker. He's going to pull right up to the back of that 56 car, look for the 3rd position. Nick Massey right behind him, but can anyone track down Ryan Lutz? He's out by 0.3 of a second. See people close in, but nobody be able to pass the leader except for when we had a tire difference.
Now, Josh Adams has been moving forward from the drop of the green flag. Started 37th. He's up to 2nd. He has moved forward all day. Same for Dalton Tucker. Started 25th, now up to 4th. Can those guys run him down? It looks like Lytle is kind of holding Tucker back a little bit. The question is whether or not Adams can get Lutz. Those guys have been teammates before. They run each other clean. It's just a matter of whether or not Adams can get to the back bumper of that 36 car and maybe make a run at it.
Here comes Dalton Tucker to the inside of Tate Lytle. He's been able to get a little bit of room. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move here in the corner. Nick Massey right there waiting in the wings to jump to the high side and go around the 24 car, and he will. He gets a run off the back of the 56 and draws up close with Tucker. Battle for the 4th spot. Tate Lytle gets a little bit of breathing room up in 3rd.
Good battle here, and great run for Thomas Sherman right behind them. Running 6th. The pit call to stay out and gain that track position has just turned this into a marvelous race for Thomas Sherman. Absolutely looking for another top 10 run and trying to capitalize maybe on these guys battling side by side, but he would take a 6th place after what has been a very crazy day.
Looking at your 2nd place driver right now, Josh Adams.
Adams not making ground on Ryan Lutz. Lutz pulling away a little bit. Lytle the one kind of making up ground now, though I think he might have overcooked the tires, driving it completely sideways off the corner. Off turn 4 one time early in this run. That's all it takes. That can really just ruin the freshness of those tires. Whew.
So we had, I think, the excitement went a little bit faster than we thought. Crump couldn't even hold on to the lead for half a lap. Now things kind of settling down a little bit. Sherman looks to the inside of Massey, not able to make the move, but we kind of gone back to a little bit of a single file until we get deep in the back. There's Cameron Rich battling.
Trying to move this 47 car back up through the field. And if we move forward a couple of positions, we got to give a call to a guy who's been multiple laps down in Chris Wright. He's up in 14th spot. Just amazing, man. I really thought he was just down and out. Last week, really, he was out late, and suddenly 14th spot after going multiple laps down early in the race. What a comeback.
Well, not even that, you go up just a couple more spots. Ethan Burrell's back there in the 12th spot after a guy that was struggling all day long, just looking outside the top 10 at the moment behind James Heater and Colin Fambro.
Heater's been around the top 10 all day long, right there at the back end of it. Fambro, one of the ones that's kind of just held station there, mid-teens and up into the 10th spot now. Bayuk, the other car, to benefit massively from staying out late in that run, able to pick up an 8th place run so far, and that would certainly be a bit of a boon for Bayuk. He's looking for a bit better run after kind of throwing away a top 10 finish last week early in the race.
The 7th spot, Nick Indelicato, my pick here, bouncing off the wall quite a few times today, but having a solid run inside the top 10 in the 7th position. 6th, Thomas Sherman, we've gone over that. His race strategy has put him in this position in a great spot by staying out in the green flag run and then staying out and just under caution. Perfect spot. Great run for him here today.
How about this? You know, my pick went 2 laps down early in the race, and Emily's picks might be out front to win it. Great job there by Emily to pick Ryan Lutz. Finally, man, he's finally clearing it and trying to finish one off. As long as there's not another caution late, I think Ryan Lutz is finally going to bring it home, though. We've seen this story before.
He's pulling away like we haven't seen all season long, up by 0.7 of a second over Josh Adams. And then it's a little ways back, about 0.4 back to Tate Lytle. Only problem is if we have another caution, I don't know how many more drivers actually have a new set of tires. So it would be interesting on a restart because we got only 5 laps left to go then.
I think most of them are out of tires. The three sets have been used. Everyone's best foot is forward here, and Thomas Sherman going to try to pick up that top 5 run. Certainly well deserved for this number 23 car. He's been up front all day, but you know, that pit call, certainly one of the ones that kind of deserves that especially great finish, and a 5th place would certainly be that for Thomas Sherman.
Watching that differential, Ryan Lutz is checking out here as we close in almost up to 0.9 of a second now ahead of Adams. Have to wonder if Adams has used up his tires trying to stay with Ryan Lutz and get up here to the front.
This is the second race that the Batflip podcast has sponsored, and for the second time, the Batflip podcast car has been the dominant car late in the running. We remember what happened last time. Ryan Lutz was out front in a race with 3 laps to go and checking out. And he was going to win Iowa going away, and a caution came out with 2 to go. Everyone pitted. I think even if the caution were to come out now, no one's going to be able to pit and have that extra strategy. Ryan Lutz is looking really good here to get that redemption and finally capture an ERSCA Series win.
Hopefully we did not just jinx him once again, as he still managing that gap, coming to 2 to go.
Ryan Lutz needs to turn left 4 more times, and he'll come back a race winner. Just a great run for Ryan Lutz. He's been everything this series has been needing. I think he's going to be he might be the points leader. I think Dalton Tucker may still have him when it comes to points after this race, but because Lutz would need to pick up 8 points on Tucker, and I don't know that this will be enough. They may be tied with a 4th place run from Tucker, so it could be interesting here as the white flag is out now. The caution can't come out. Ryan Lutz needs to bring it around to take home the victory.
Gap is slowly closing, but not enough to make a difference. Ryan Lutz down the backstretch one more time here at Homestead Speedway to send it off into 3 and 4. Last time he was out front like this, he had some bad luck. Got taken out in Iowa. This time, no pressure from behind. He'll send it off into 3 and 4, come out of the corner, and Ryan Lutz is going to win the Batflip 133 from Homestead Miami Speedway. This time he gets it done.
I'm certain that guy in that 36 car is going to be real excited when we get him in here for the interview. Very much wanting that redemption after what was a miserable finish to the Iowa race. Was not at all happy. Now he's going to get to celebrate a victory at Homestead of all places. I bet he'll tell us that he didn't think that this was going to come.
Josh Adams will come across in second. Tate Lytle will get a top 3 finish. Dalton Tucker in fourth. Thomas Sherman, top 5. Nick Indelicato, sixth. Jamie Massey in seventh. James Heater, eighth. Colin Fambro, ninth. And Matthew Bayuk rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Bayuk picks up that top 10 finish. Sherman picks up the top 5. Fambro picking up that ninth place run. Apex Sim Sport Racing number 36, sponsored by the Batflip Podcast, wins the Batflip 133.
He'll light it up here on the front stretch and burn it down for the fans in attendance and everyone online.
What a great restart that was, I have to say. Those guys were wheeling it sideways, all kinds of sideways, and kept it from bringing out a caution and shaking things back up. Great racing, fantastic finish, and that's it. That's what Ryan. That's what we run for. Ryan Lutz captures the victory here at Homestead. We do have Josh Adams in the waiting room, so we can bring him in here and send it down to Emily for the interview here, I think. Maybe not yet. Not just yet, as we'll finish watching Ryan Lutz celebrate. Maybe we can hit the top 10, or maybe 11th through 20th here real quick on the results page before we start our interviews.
Guys, I also want to say on these results here, Josh started pretty far back, right? And for him to come up second is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is. Josh had an incredible drive to get up to 32nd from 37th. We look back through the top 10. Still a good run for Chris Wright after being a couple of laps down. Cameron Rich climbs back to 14th. Gerald Campbell and Jared Mogard will kind of maintain their points positions, though I think they're going to lose some ground to the Tate Lytle and Ryan Lutz crowd. And then a good run for Michael Goodman. Come home in 18th. Chad Bear as well. And we will send it down to Emily with an interview with Tate Lytle, finished third.
Hey, Tate, do you have a copy?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, we talked to you last week. You came in first and third tonight. So, how have you been so successful lately? What's the secret?
Mile and a half. So I feel like I'm pretty solid there. Uh, yeah, I really thought I was gonna have a good chance there. If that caution had come out during the long run, I had over pitted those guys 2 laps, so I was catching them pretty good. But can't predict the cautions. But P3, not bad.
I felt like there were quite a few cautions in this race tonight. What was your kind of like reflection on how that went and how many crashes there were?
Yeah, I mean, I thought there'd be a lot fewer. I almost wrecked it on lap 1. I hadn't been loose the whole week, and with dirt tracking it on lap 1 through 1 and 2, and that kind of put me in a hole because the right rear was so worn off already after half a lap. Fell back to 10th, and I don't know. I felt like I had a good run there if that would have gone green.
What would you say was maybe the biggest challenge for you in this race tonight?
Just managing tires. I feel like normally that's kind of where my strong point is, but I was having to really try to manage those tires. I was able to do it during that long run pretty good, but the first run and that last run wasn't quite able to hang with those other guys.
Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs that you would like to give tonight?
Yeah, obviously you guys, and then Brent Wentz, Days Gone By, Vintage Racing Apparel, and then I think my dad and Uncle Ryan are both watching this. So shout out to them.
Awesome.
Uncle Ryan, proud of you for figuring out YouTube. I know that's a big step in the right direction for you. But yeah, thanks. Thank you guys for doing this, and we'll see you next week.
Well, big shout out to your dad and your Uncle Ryan. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks to you, Tate, for your time. And congrats on coming in third.
Thanks, guys.
Now we'll bring in second place finisher Josh Adams, who climbed from 37th to finish second tonight.
Josh, do you have a copy?
Yep.
Well, you started in 37th tonight and finished in second. So, how were you able to gain so much ground?
I think I took care of the tires pretty good on the first run and was able to pass a lot of people. A couple of the wrecks definitely happened, but I mean the cautions definitely fell my way because when that last one came out, I wasn't like in the best spot. I thought I ran my tires off and I was just gonna finish like 13th or something, but caution came out at the right time, and I was able to get some track position, and we were able to hold it.
You mentioned the tires, which was one of the conversations pre-race that we were having. What was your strategy coming into tonight?
Well, I figured we all thought we were going to be able to run the wall and run up pretty high and make time. Um, I think the nighttime might have had something to do with why we couldn't, but my strategy coming in was not to hit the wall, but and just kind of run off of it. But nobody was able to run it, so that made that pretty easy.
Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs that you would like to give tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Brandon Key. Yeah, one of my teammates. He's taken some time off for himself. I took over as sponsor, Two Drunk Brothers. In the meantime, it's cool to give them a P2 the first time out. You guys for the broadcast, Johnny for the league, just everybody that makes it happen.
Awesome. Yeah, we're definitely thinking of Brandon. Thanks for giving him the shout out. And thank you so much for your time, Josh. And congrats on coming in second.
Thank
Now we'll bring in race winner Ryan Lutz.
Hey, Ryan, do you have a copy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, first place tonight, which I believe was my pick. I told you on Twitter you were going to be the one to watch. So, what was the key to coming in first here?
Just be easy on the tires the first part of the run, and just really have a good enough rotation center off where you weren't killing the right rear or the right front. And I really didn't think we'd be that good. I know Homestead. I like Homestead. It's a pretty good track for me, but man, we were really good tonight. And Damian Leinecker helped me a lot tonight. He was calling the shots of me, and I think I called him every name in the book when I saw by me, and I was like, man, we're not going to get a caution. Lucky enough we did, and we're just in the right spot at the right time and just capitalized and just played a perfect race right in our hands.
Yeah, we've talked about the tires quite a bit in this race tonight. How are you able to kind of make the right decisions on when to grab some fresh ones?
Usually, whenever I try to short pit, it never works out. No matter what track I go to, it seems like short pit never works. So I figured just run it till it's empty, and if it's a lap before you come down, put tires on, and fuel. And we luckily didn't have to do that because the caution came out right as we were thinking of coming to pit road, and then I think we did like 9 laps on that set of tires, and the caution came out, and I was like, man, now what do you do? Because you only have one set left, and I was like, I think we're gonna get one more caution. Staying on the racetrack won us the race, and I was a little nervous when the 51 drove by us. I was like, man, he ain't gonna pass him unless caution comes out, and the caution did, and we were just able to have a perfect day.
There were quite a few cautions. I felt like I talked to Tate about this as well. What was your kind of impression on how many crashes there were tonight, and how were you able to avoid those?
I thought it was really slick on the restarts. The setup was a little free, on the bottom on the restart, so it was really tough to get a good enough run. And when you felt like you were easy, all of a sudden it would break loose and and get loose on the bottom underneath someone. So I think that was a lot what to do, a lot to do with it, especially with the sun going down. I think it made the track a little bit more slick, but clean air was important, so that's what we were able to use as an advantage.
Before we let you go, are there any shout outs you would like to give tonight?
Everyone that puts ERSCA on, Johnny Thomas, is my first year with them, and it's been a blast. You, Emily, you, Dom, Josh, David. I know you guys put an awesome broadcast on, and really just everyone at ERSCA. Damian Leinecker, he's a big supporter of mine. I wouldn't be here without him. Bat Flip podcast. Just really everyone at Apex. We're gelling right now. I think we're going to be the point leader after this. So it's just everything's heading in the right direction. Bristol's a good track for us next week, so hopefully we'll just have another good run next week and keep them coming.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it, Ryan. Thanks so much for the time, and congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Thanks, guys.
All right, and with that, our interviews are done. Another ERSCA race in the books this season. Emily, any final thoughts down there from pit road?
Yeah. Can I just brag a little bit that I picked the winner? Is that allowed here?
Worse.
No, I thought it was a great race. I was a little shocked at how many cautions there were. I know we say it every race, but just coming off the very first lap, having a caution definitely set the tone, I think. But it was an exciting one, and I'm super stoked for Ryan Lutz and all the guys in the top 3 that we talked to tonight. So it was a fun one, and I can't wait until next week.
Same here. And Dom, any final thoughts here as we've wrapped up yet another race?
I don't know. I think it's Emily the first one to actually hit on one this season so far.
I think so. I think that's correct.
And
Yeah,
then
Yeah, I had Lutz at Iowa, and that worked out great.
and then no, I think the cautions coming out and the pit strategy I think made for great racing and made it fun up here from, I don't know about you, David, but from my perspective to talk about and sit back and watch. And 4 different winners in 4 different races sure makes it exciting and shows the talent field here in the ERSCA series.
Yeah, I think that's a good takeaway. I would finish with, I'm a little bit surprised. I think so was Tate, that they couldn't run the top lane at all. We really didn't see that grip strip come in. It wasn't really working, I think, and something that maybe iRacing needs to work on there. Looked like you could just drive it to the bottom, and that was where the grip was. As we pulled up this back end of the group, Scott Crump finished 28th. Just absolutely miserable after having an opportunity to win. No tires, that's what that's going to do for you. And really tough break, and a tough break for my pick. So basically had a miserable night on my end there on that. But hey, big shout out to Ryan Lutz, my teammate on a number of other races, and I think that was just another great race. We saw those guys making those saves, and we're going to be able to take a look at the point standings, I think, next week and see a bit of a different situation than we did last week. These guys are really going to put forth, I think, big numbers when it comes to the points. It's going to be tough to get into this chase. There's going to be a lot of competition around that 10th spot. So I think with that, as we can confirm that Ryan Lutz will be the points leader heading into next week. So big win, championship implications for Ryan Lutz. So for David Westergreen, Dom Santina, and Emily Harlan, this has been, and Joshua Sobel, this has been Batflip 133 presented by Belly Up Sports. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.